Hi everyone. So today's video is slightly different compared to my all previous videos. So this video I'll be going through a plan for learning Elasticsearch. So I have called this as Elasticsearch Mastery, but you can call it as something like Elasticsearch from zero to hero, Elasticsearch learning, or Elasticsearch from beginner to advanced. And so if you want to learn Elasticsearch, I have broken down the different concepts and areas of learning into different like boxes, and to say that you know Elasticsearch, you should be knowing all these topics, and I'll be covering videos on all these topics one by one in my next videos. So let's go through it. So we start from the top left side. First is installation. So installation covers, for example, installing on Elastic Cloud or using Elastic Cloud, and installing on Mac OS, Linux and Windows, and it could be like a development setup as well as production setup. So this I will go through in my future videos. Next comes architecture of Elasticsearch. So Elasticsearch consists of, as you know, there is a cluster, and cluster consists of nodes, and nodes and the data is spread across shards, and some distributed systems call it as like partitions. So I'll be covering that in future videos. And indexes or indices, plural form is like a table in Elasticsearch, and all the records are considered documents, and which is basically a JSON documents. So all information is stored as JSON. And then you have other concepts like replication group, which is like a primary shard and the replication shards. This I will be covering. Routing is like how the documents are retrieved for reading and writing, and also the concept of coordinating nodes and segments. So how the data is distributed. So if you say that you know the architecture of Elasticsearch, you should be aware about all these concepts which comes under the architecture. Okay. Next, going down, we have the concepts around Elasticsearch. So concepts consist of there is an overlap between architecture and but knowing the concept is also very important, like sharding, how the data is sharded, how the replication is set up, nodes, what is the relationship between the nodes and the sharding and the primary replica group, and things like that. And next is indexes. So this is the underlying technology, like term frequency, inverted document frequency. This is the usual strategy to spread across the document. Then term frequency, then document frequency, and term frequency, document frequency. I will covering that as well in my future lessons. And same like inverted index, term dictionary, and term index. So this is all we should be aware about when it comes to the concepts. Okay, now going down, when it comes to managing documents, this is the most important part of Elasticsearch. So it takes into consideration all things like create, retrieve, update, delete, all the CRUD operation, then replace and upserts, and next is update by query and delete by query, and third is like a batch processing or scripted updates. So this is all part of managing documents. Next comes Kibana. So as you know, Kibana is like a tool which is very tightly integrated with Elasticsearch, and Kibana also helps like upload documents or like there is a data visualizer, there is a machine learning library, all those things. I'll put more sections around here, and I will be reusing this mind map when I come to that Kibana section. But at this moment I have just put to like a data visualizer and visualize library. Next comes security. So under security also I will be putting more sections. As of now, I'm aware about XPack, which is like a component to secure the Elasticsearch Kibana cluster. So that is at the moment. And next, coming to right hand side, we start with mappings. So mapping is basically like a schema in Elasticsearch, how you map the data. So that's why it consists of the things like data types. Type coercion is like a forcefully converting a type from one to another, similar like Java. Then you have arrays, how the information is saved into arrays. So I'll be covering this also in my future lessons. And explicit mappings, missing fields, how Elasticsearch handle missing fields, dates, and here I can say timestamps. Okay, so next coming down, we have analysis section. So analysis section is important. So we should be aware about all the different type of analyzers, like built-in and the custom. So we can create our custom analyzer also, but built-in analyzer, what are they consist of? So basically, when you push data into Elasticsearch, they go through this cycle of character filters, tokenizers, normalizers, and token filters. So this also I will be covering in my future lessons. So we should know about this particular concept of analyzer, how the data is analyzed and stored in different tokens, like a broken down version. Okay, so and within analysis, there sometimes we have to do reindexing and stemming. Stemming is basically, let's say in English you have drinking, you have drank, you have past tense, present tense, future tense, all those things. So it will be like stored as a root word, not as the variation of that root word. And stop word is basically the words like a and the, things that doesn't matter in English language. Okay, so moving ahead. So next is aliases. So aliases, we can create aliases for our data streams or the indexes, and we can use that in creating or updating or retrieving the documents, right? And next section is queries. So queries, like we should be aware about what are the different like type of queries. We can have Boolean logic, we can have multiple queries, and we can have and or not. We can join queries, we can control the query results in terms of how much information we want to get back, right? And next, moving ahead, most important is like searches. That's what Elasticsearch is for, right? So searches, we should be aware about term level queries, how the term level queries is used, index level queries, relevance score. Relevance score is basically when a query come back, there, for example, you have 10 items. So what is the relevance between maximum 1 or 0.9, 0.8? So how relevant is that result? Phrase match, like an exact phrase match, this is what it is, and how it handles pagination and fuzzy matching. So as you know, it can perform fuzzy matching, and also search as you type. So all this I will cover in future lessons, but you should be aware if you want to appear for Elasticsearch certification or do Elasticsearch mastery or work in real world when it comes to Elasticsearch. Okay, next is aggregations. So aggregation is basically taking multiple, having a group of data and aggregating it, like combining it based on something like a matrix, for example, numeric matrix or non-numeric matrix. We can bucketize information, like put in bucket, like for example, show me sales per month, right? Something like this for January, February, March, like something of that sort. We have pipeline aggregation. So this is like a window, and histograms is basically like a graph. You can see like a bar chart or something of that sort. So all this, how we can perform all this aggregation using Elasticsearch, right? And next comes indexing. So indexing is basically how you upload information into the Elasticsearch. So this is the indexing, and the index is basically a table. So when it comes to indexing, the things that we should be aware about and we should leverage is index templates. So there are blueprints which when we create an index, we can leverage index templates. Components templates are basically for settings, and can be reused across when we create the indexes. And next is data streams, how we can use data streams. Fourth is optimistic concurrency control. For example, we are parallelly sending some information, and how the information is not corrupted and is accurate as per the business logic. So how we can control that. Next is index lifecycle management policy. So every time we create an index, we can define the life cycle. Like a life cycle are basically hot, warm, cold, and delete. So we can define like based on the duration or based on the size of the shard and the count, the document count, we can define those index lifecycle management policy, right? And last is integration. So how Elasticsearch integrate with other products. So in this, there are multiple products like Apache Kafka, which is like a streaming solution, Apache Spark, which is like an analytical solution. So you can perform rich transformation analytics before you can like push to Elasticsearch. Logstash, which is which is part of ELK stack. So how information comes from logs and multiple sources. Kibana is, as I already covered, it's like a dashboard. and it performs, it can provide additional functionality on top of Elasticsearch, and other things like databases like MySQL, NoSQL databases like Cassandra or any other. So these are the integration. So yeah, so I'll be covering all these topics in my future lessons. So this is basically the mind map. If you want to learn Elasticsearch, so you should like go into documentation and search this topic one by one and have a very good understanding of Elasticsearch. So yeah, this is a slightly different video. I hope you like this particular video. Please like, share, subscribe and comment. Thank you very much. Bye.